Hey, how's it going, everyone? Happy Saturday, and welcome back to another FilmSpeak live Q&A. We do these every Saturday at 10 a.m. Pacific time, and it's all about hanging out, taking your live questions, and talking about whatever the hell you want to talk about. Of course, I am your host, Griffin Schiller, and here at FilmSpeak, we like to say that the conversation continues after the credits. So if you want to be a part of that conversation, you want to dig deep into the weeds on movies, TV, and all your favorite pop culture entities, you're definitely in the right place. So consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't done so already. But guys, I don't do these alone. I'm always joined by some amazing guests, and today I am joined by Mr. Austin Burke, the Burkinator. Buddy, how's it going, man?
Griff, I've missed you, man. We've done a couple of things together, nothing as of late, and I was so excited when you reached out, man. These are so much fun. I try to tune in as often as I can, but it's nice to be on your channel. It feels good.
Yeah, no, I was like, it's been, I think the last time we did a video, we were talking about Daredevil season 3. It was like you, me, and Scott from Nerd Sync. We're talking about Daredevil season 3, and we were just and I'm like, gosh, that was like, I don't know, maybe like 2 years ago or something. Was it? Or maybe it was like, I don't know when. Yeah, it was like 2 years ago or something like that. That's wild. But guys, listen, we will have Sharonda from Pay Her Weight joining us here momentarily, and when she gets in, we will I'll add her into the stream. But start sending in your live questions, guys, because that's what the show is all about. The super chat option is available to you all. It is not required, but if you do choose to do that, just know you will be helping in supporting the channel. And then also, guys, we started a Patreon, so if, we've been doing a lot of live streams recently. We've been doing a live news show called Film Forum on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and if you want to have a hand in the creation of that show, head on over to Patreon. One of the tiers is that you can submit topics and questions for us to discuss during that show, and then you get access to an audio-only version of Film Forum. So if any of that sounds like it interests you, definitely head on over to the Patreon and all that good stuff. And I do see that we do have Sharonda in here. Let me see if she's all good, and I will try to add her in. But yeah, guys, start sending in your questions. We'll begin taking them momentarily. But Sharonda, you're here. How are you doing?
What's up?
Hi.
How are you? Are you having a?
It's a great day.
Yeah.
Sorry, I look frazzled.
No, it's okay.
Yes,
that you're good. You look more put together than both of us. So I think that's like.
Amen, brother.
I'm getting my life together. I'm sorry. I needed to find my glasses so I could see today.
No, you're totally fine. That's good. So what have you been up to?
This morning I watched Radioactive.
Oh yeah, how was that?
It was like, I liked it because I didn't know a lot about Marie Curie and what she did. I just know she was a Nobel Prize winner. But it's interesting, but I don't know if it did enough for me. But I thought Rosamund Pike was fantastic as Marie.
Yeah.
And I just started The Rental, actually.
Oh, okay. I'm curious to hear your thoughts on that one, because it's a little bit of a mixed bag for me. But Austin, did you see Radioactive?
I haven't seen Radioactive. The Rental, I'm in your camp. It was some good elements. I like Dave Franco's direction. I don't think he's quite suited for horror necessarily, but Radioactive is one I hope to see by the end of the weekend.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Amazon Prime's got some good stuff coming out soon. I mean, they got The Boys season 2 coming out, which I'm very, very excited for. Did you guys catch the clip that they showed at Comic-Con? It's so good. It's so good.
You know, I don't watch clips or anything, so I just go in fully surprised.
I like that though. That's a good method.
Yeah, I know. It's like it's honestly, I wish I had like the sheer willpower to do that, but like anyways, the clip was really, really good. And then, yeah, we've been getting a lot of stuff from Comic-Con. Have you guys really been paying attention to that at all?
No, I forgot to register my press credentials. I didn't know we had to re-sign up. So no, I just been being at home. Like totally, you would think you would be more productive, but you're not. It makes it
honestly, yeah, there's something like having an office just like helps, it gives you some place to go, and like you're like, okay, well, while I'm here, I'm gonna focus on this,
like,
and then well, and then Austin, your office is your home, so I guess you're kind of like used to that then.
Yeah, I've completely taken over. My wife is just like, I will come in, her sewing machine's in here, and then she has a few things out there, but my office spans my entire apartment. And she accepts it though. She's okay with it, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, going into some questions here. Let's see. Connor Stork asking, what film do you think is underrated that a lot of people seem to hate? We do get this one a lot, but we'll throw it in there. For me, it's Venom. Yeah, I think Venom is a case of just like it. I mean, it's probably not a great movie, but it's a little more clever than people give it credit for, and it's just dumb fun. But yeah, I don't know, Sharonda, what's one that you think is underrated that people seem to hate?
I mean, I like to cause discourse, so I'm gonna go ahead and say The Last Jedi.
There you go. Let's hear it. Come on, bring it on. Bring it on.
Bring on the evil.
Yeah. You know, it's interesting because it's like I've never really been a big fan of that film, but I think that seeing The Rise of Skywalker made me retroactively appreciate that movie like a million times more.
Everyone was upset until The Rise of Skywalker came out, and then realized I might have been wrong.
Yeah, it's like maybe I don't want this. Austin, Austin, what about you?
You know, I don't know if friends, acquaintances hate these movies, but I tend to like all of the Adam Sandler movies in his prime. Waterboy, Billy Madison. I know they weren't critically received very well, and I know some friends who genuinely don't like them, but for the most part, I go back to those movies. I rewatch them a lot, and just that 4 to 5 movie span, man, I could watch those all day. They're so funny.
Yeah, I mean, like, you're right. There's like stuff to enjoy in them. Like despite their shortcomings and whatnot. And I think when you just sort of accept that you're watching an Adam Sandler movie, you just like, you know what you're in for, unless you're watching like Uncut Gems. Let's be real. Like that's the only case where you're like, well, maybe I don't know what I'm in store for.
Yeah.
But yeah, moving on to the next one here. So 402-1971 asking, I saw Waves last night on Showtime. I know you loved it, and so did I. Some people didn't like how the movie was unresolved at the end. I thought it was a realistic ending. What do you think? Sharonda, let's go back with you. Well, first of all, I feel like I know your thoughts on Waves, but I haven't talked to you about it. I don't think so. First of all,
actually, I saw Waves twice. So I saw Waves the first time at TIFF, and the first half of Waves, I absolutely loved it. The way that it literally keeps you on the edge of your seat. The aspect ratio change that happens towards the middle. But as we get into the second half, I did not like it. The first time. So actually the cast actually came for a screening in Atlanta, and I watched it again for the second time. And I actually talked to Trey, and I told him that I wasn't a fan of the second half the first time, but the second time I was able to appreciate it, because with films like this, we never delve into the effects that something like this has on the family, right? We only talk about the person that it concerns or the other victim, but we never talk about the fallout that happens to the family when they lose a loved one or when they lose them to the prison system. And so I was able to appreciate that with the second half of watching these two different journeys that happen. So it was like a mixed bag the first time, but it grew on me the second viewing.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's interesting, because that is the thing that, like, whenever I talk to people, they were like, they either hated the first half and loved the second half, or they hated the second half and loved the first half. And it's like one of those things that I agree with you. So on repeat viewing, it starts to like click a little bit more. At least for myself. I mean, immediately I was kind of just like swept up in the emotions and kind of got what he was going. And it worked for me too, because I agree with you. Like showing the fallout and the aftermath of like something as horrific as what happens during the first half of that movie. You're right. We do not see that like ever. And it is so important. And I feel like they needed that uplifting second half to balance out the really like intense and serious first half. And so like in regards to the question here, talking about the ending, I agree. I think it's a realistic ending. I mean, like certain things were resolved. People learned how to move past certain barriers that were in front of them, and also they learned how to forgive, which I think was the big thing at the end. It's like the two parents needed to learn to forgive each other and love each other again, and then also the sister needed to learn to forgive the brother for the hell that she put the family through. So I think it's a spectacular film that I love. But Austin, I don't know if I ever like heard your thoughts on Waves either. Were you a fan of Waves? And then also, how did you like the ending?
I was a huge fan. I had a very emotional experience. I traveled all the way to Tennessee to see Waves in 1917 on the same weekend. And
oh wow!
I think I was the only person in the theater watching Waves. Extremely small theater, man. I was bawling my eyes out. I was crying. Yeah. It was extremely emotional. But here's the thing. I think I'm with Sharon. I like the first half more. Definitely.
Yeah.
But unresolved but realistic is something that A24, you already mentioned Uncut Gems. I know a lot of people that have issues with that ending personally, because it's like, well, what happens after that? And I don't love the way that it wrapped up, but it's so realistic, especially for the trajectory of Adam Sandler's character. And I think it's the same case with Wave. So I loved it. Beautiful ending, and one of my personal favorites of last year.
Yeah, for sure. That was like a top. I think that was my second favorite film behind 1917 last year. So, yeah, for sure. Thank you for the question. Yeah, well, listen, this is just the first thing I just want to say is if you have not seen Waves, it is the thing I preach on my channel. Go see Waves. It'll affect you and move you in many different ways, hopefully. So, yeah, definitely check that out. Okay. So Art Wishwood asking, name your current favorite film, TV show, music album, book, and city. So I guess when you're talking about current favorite, do you mean like something that we've watched that's like favorite, or do you mean like of all time? Because that can get a little tough. Austin, let's let you take this one first. You can interpret it however you wish.
Okay. Let's see. I'll just say this year. Okay, I'll say my current favorite film. We'll say favorite film of this year. Palm Springs for me is my favorite movie of the year. I absolutely loved that movie. Surpassed Invisible Man as my number one. Let's see, TV show. I have to say Dark season 3. One of the best things that Netflix has ever had to offer. The writing is fantastic. Music album, man. I'm listening to Journey for the last 25 years, so I'm just going to say Journey because Don't Stop Believing, that's my jam, dude. Okay.
Oh, my God.
Book, I guess current favorite's the one I'm reading. I'm in the middle of Dune. It's confusing. Don't know what's going on, but I'm trying to figure my way through it. And then city. Ooh, city. Man, Lexington, Kentucky, because that's where I reside, even though that's not true. It is not my favorite city, but hey, it welcomes me with open arms. So.
I guess if you were going by 2020 rules, it would be your favorite city of the year because you have not visited any other cities. Sharonda, what about you? We'll keep it to 2020 for all of these.
2020, okay. Because I was going to find a way to put Loose into it because
nice. Well, listen, have you seen Loose this year?
I mean, I watched it again.
Yeah. So, well, there you go. You can put it. Yeah, that counts. I think that counts.
Coming out. Yeah. So, man.
Yeah. I think it counts.
Current favorite TV show. I mean, I watched Umbrella Academy season 2, and I really loved it.
Is the embargo still up for that, by the way?
Yeah, that's why I couldn't say anything else.
Okay, I was about to
Monday at 9 a.m.
Gotcha.
And then music, I've been listening to Chloe and Halle. I forgot what it's called though, but that's what I listen to right now.
Oh, okay.
Or I continue to listen to Troll soundtrack. But the current, I'm actually reading Lovecraft Country right now. So
okay. Yeah. So, how is like the book, I guess? Because I mean, I don't think they've sent out screeners yet for the show or anything, but like
no,
I guess do you
now kind of watch the trailer, even though I don't like watching trailers. But it made me more interested to watch the book because even though I just started, so I'm only like, the first 50 pages in, it already looks different than what I've read in the beginning of kind of how everything gets set up. So I'm interested to keep reading, and I guess we'll have to wait to get screenings. And I guess for the city, I can say Atlanta, Georgia, but I'm not really happy with them right now. But we can't go anywhere, so I guess this has to be.
It has to be your favorite city. Yeah, I guess that's true. I think for me, my favorite film of the year is. I think it might be Da 5 Bloods. I love that movie a lot. It's either Da 5 Bloods or The Invisible Man, kind of a toss-up between those two. But that's my favorite films of the year. Favorite TV show. I'm gonna be honest. I don't really watch a whole lot of TV unless it's like the HBO stuff. But it's probably a toss up between Perry Mason and I'll Be Gone Before Dark, which is the Michelle McNamara documentary about the Golden State Killer, which is just phenomenal. If you're not watching it, highly recommend it. Favorite music album, man, I think I might have to go After Hours by The Weeknd. That thing is pretty much on repeat for me. Like it's been on repeat all year. It's so good. Book, I mean, I don't really read, so I can't really answer that. But my favorite city, definitely not LA. Even though I might have to say that. Let's see. It's a bit of a cheat, but because I used to live there, Washington DC. I love that city. I think it's
Nice.
great. So okay, thank you for the question. All right, moving on.
Can I randomly say though, guys, like keep Possessor on your radar.
Oh my God. Yes.
It's
Yes.
so good.
Yeah.
Like, please keep that on your radar. I saw that at Sunday. It is fantastic.
Yeah. Tyler and I actually just reviewed that a couple of maybe last week or so, and I just oh my God, that movie it sticks with you. It's the body horror and the violence and the graphic nature of it is just
Wow.
Oh my God, it's really it'll take you back.
So good.
Yeah, it's so good. That's like a top. I don't know for you. I don't know about you, but like for me, that's like a top 5 favorite film of the year so far.
Yes, and the father of Anthony Hopkins, but I don't know if that's coming out yet. That was in Sundance too.
Yeah, I remember hearing about that, but I haven't. Yeah, I mean, there's been like no movement on it from my understanding. So,
We'll see what happens. May 2021.
Oh God, I know. Let's take a second here. Let's talk about that. All these movies that are moving, like, okay, we're not getting Quiet Place anymore. We're not getting Top Gun anymore. Nope. We're not getting. God, I don't even know what else moved. Mulan. But New Mutants. New Mutants stayed at August 28th. Wait, what is going on there, Austin? What's going on there with this? Are we good? Yeah, I agree with you.
They're just like really optimistic. I just think they've been delayed so many times. They're like, listen, guys, we're the laughing stock of the industry right now. We just got to go for it. And you know what? I am still, even them clinging on for dear life, I am still convinced it's going to Disney Plus. I don't know how you don't send it to Disney Plus. We'll see what happens, I guess. But the fact that New Mutants may be our first big movie in theaters, it's the best joke. And I'm excited for it more than I was, but it's really funny.
Yeah, Sharonda, what's going on with this nonsense? I
really thought that after Tenet got pushed back indefinitely, I thought that we had made peace with this. I thought that we looked ourselves in the mirror and we said, you know what? It is a wrap for 2020 movies. And we're just going to go to 2021. And I don't know why they think of all the movies that New Mutants will be the one to make everyone come out and risk their lives.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
why movie that it is clear that no one believes in really is just us bothering the studio to release it on Hulu or Disney Plus. Like, just give the people what they want.
I know. I agree with you. Listen, I know there are like contractual things in place that are like preventing this from happening. But like maybe before August 28th, they could get those contract issues sort of like ironed out. The other thing is, and I saw this kind of floating around, what if they just release it? Whatever theaters are open, we'll just release it to those theaters. We know we're going to take a hit, but the international market is opening up. And so we can at least, release it over there. And then like the theaters that are open here, we can have it. And then the drive-ins that are here, they release it. They obviously don't make as much money as they would have, but they just kind of like roll the dice, and it's the litmus test basically, because they know the film is basically doomed. Like, whichever way you slice it, like, it's. I mean, I don't know. I think it could do pretty well on VOD and like streaming, but if they're not going to do that, like, it's been delayed so many times. It's been in production hell for whatever, and I think right now you have the momentum. So if you want to just bite the bullet and release it theatrically, do it. I mean, that could be the other thing. Or maybe like do that and then have like a paid VOD option. which I don't know if they can do that because of the contracts. But I agree with you guys. I think one way or another, this thing's got to come out. You know, it's just they're just gonna have to just dump it out there, and I think it's probably the perfect movie to do that. I know a lot of people say Tenet should be the litmus test. I don't think that should be the litmus test. I think maybe this can be the warm up, and then Tenet, we can see what happens with that. And I think from everything that's floating around, Tenet is looking to do like the August 28th international, and then maybe like a Labor Day weekend domestic, which that could be a good rollout for them, and then just have a long theatrical window. So I don't know. Do you guys think that we
pirate that movie? Like
Tenet?
You might as well just give it to everyone for free because it's going to be online. It's going to leak. It's going to be all over Reddit. Everyone is going to be pissed off because they're going to spoil the entire film. And realistically, for New Mutants, they will need to release it now because cases are still going up overseas. So it's only a matter of time before they're put on lockdown. So if they're going to do it, then I would say like next Friday, you need to release the movie.
Yeah, I mean that's a valid point. I think in the case of Tenet, I mean, you might have to deal with pirating. I mean, you will have to deal with pirating issues, but I would think most of them are just going to be cams. So I would think that if you put an international release date for Tenet on the 28th of August or 26th or whatever, something like that internationally, and then just maybe a week or two later, you put it domestically, people will wait for that domestic release date. At least I think so, because I don't know. Do people really want to watch a really shitty cam version of, of Tenet? You know, you don't get the same experience. You think people will?
Because people are trolls and they want to spoil everyone's experience. So for that one person who knows that they can ruin everyone's life by posting spoilers, they will definitely do it.
Yeah, I guess that's a good point. Yeah, I don't know, Austin. What do you think about that?
Well, it scares me. I've had things ruined for me in the past. I see this, I'm just like, oh no, I'm gonna have to stay. However long it takes for it to come to the U.S., I'm gonna have to stay offline, man. Because like, take Endgame for example. The Black Widow death was ruined for me because someone commented it on my Instagram page. Due to leaks. So it's things like that. It's like I can't even stay off of the internet because people are sending me notifications, and that worries me for sure. I know some in other countries, they've had to deal with this for quite a while, right? But a movie like Tenet, you want it to roll out around the same time. So as long as it's maybe a week, I won't be as upset. But if we have to wait a couple weeks here in the US, see y'all later. I'm turning all the notifications off and everything.
For sure. I don't even know like how any of us could produce content because it'll just get spoiled. Like I agree. But anyways, okay, moving away from Tenet and New Mutants, Josephine DeMarco asking, which movie wedding would you want to crash? Shrek and Fiona, Kermit and Miss Piggy, Father of the Bride, or The Wedding from The Graduate? I mean, I feel like Shrek and Fiona would be a party, so maybe that one, but I don't know. Sharonda?
I would love Kermit and Miss Piggy because she is very like petty and disrespectful. But I feel as though if I went to Father of the Bride, that they will have the best food.
Yeah, they probably would.
And they will have good liquor.
You know what? Damn it. You're right. Because Shrek and Fiona aren't going to have good food. That's going to be bad. Yeah. All right. You might be onto something there. Austin.
I still have to go probably Shrek and Fiona, just because every time I watch that movie, everybody's dancing and I'm a believer, and I'm just like, oh, I wish I was there. So if I had the opportunity to be there and I could be in the, dancing with them, that'd be cool. But if we can cheat and say The Office when Jim and Pam get married, I mean,
that would be that would be fun. Yeah.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, moving on to the next one. Dennis S. Which repercussions do you think the current situation will have on theaters? The streaming services were already growing at great speed, and now even more. Do you think current day cinemas will die out? Austin, let's go to you for this one.
Man, it's not good. I think we all know that. But the rate, I mean, the longer movies take to come to theaters, the worse off theaters are going to be. And it was already, I wouldn't say a huge decline, but a steady decline from what it's been over the last couple of years. And I hope when movies come back, people are so excited to get back in theaters when everyone can be safe in theaters, that it's going to kind of give us a bump up. But if it takes too long, then will there be theaters at that point? It has me really worried for the future of cinema for sure.
Yeah, I don't know. Sharonda?
Yeah, I mean, the theaters, they really need a bailout. Like, they need something that's going to hold them over into 2021. Because I honestly don't know what I would do if I lost AMC, because that's the only theater I actually like going to in the first place. I think with the streaming services, though, to be honest, I really only think Netflix is having the biggest benefit from the pandemic right now. I think that there's still a lot of work to do with other streaming services in regards to their marketing. Because even when I talk to my family and they ask me what I'm watching, like they didn't know that Apple TV Plus had like a whole streaming service. They didn't know that if you bought an iPhone, it's free for a whole year. Yeah. Even with like Hulu, I don't know. I mean, I think the streaming services are struggling too, outside of Netflix. So
yeah. Well, I think a lot of the reason that some of those streaming services are struggling is because they are just now launching, and they're like, they have to go through like the early stages of like launching a service like this. So like HBO Max didn't really have a whole lot of original content, which I guess people are really interested in. But on the flip side, HBO Max has a lot of legacy content, and you get HBO, so you get all the movies that are in circulation on there. So I don't know. For me, that's been a big draw for that particular streaming service. Peacock had a few originals. I don't know how well they were received. There was like one that I think that was received well, but the rest of them were kind of like meh. And they've got some good classic movies on there, like the monster movies, the Hitchcock films. Those are that's a big draw. But other than that, their catalog isn't all that great. I mean, you get Parks and Rec, which is big for some people, and you will have The Office next year. But like right off the bat, like, I don't know, where's Fast and Furious? Like all those movies should be on there. All the Shrek movies should be on there, not just the first one. And the rest of the DreamWorks animation catalog, like that's where you really, if you don't have original content, you got to sell people on legacy content, which is something that I think HBO Max has done pretty well. I don't know what their numbers are like, but you bring up a good point, which is like the streaming services outside of Netflix aren't really doing all that well. I mean, maybe Netflix and Amazon Prime, just because Amazon Prime is, they have The Boys and other stuff like that. But yeah, I think it's just, it's a case where things aren't being made. And so, well, I mean, I guess there are a few things being made, but by and large, like the content that is being released has already been made. It's been made like a year ago or 2 years ago or something like that. And it is just now getting released. And there's only a finite amount of content that, that has already been produced. And so, eventually they'll just like start scraping the bottom of the barrel, and then we won't get a lot of great content unless, productions start picking up or there's like really, like closed off sets, like what Zendaya and John David Washington did. So on that one film. So yeah, I don't know. I don't think theaters will ever go away. I think they will always be there, but I think that like the future is online. The future is on streaming, unfortunately. Like I think that's just the direction this whole industry is heading in. So this definitely gave it a push in that direction, this whole pandemic and everything, which is, unfortunate, but the writing was already kind of on the wall. But will cinemas die out? No. I think they will always be in existence, no matter how few of them there are. But it's something to think about for sure. So thanks for the question. Orland's opinion. What do you think of Swiss Army Man? It's one of my favorite movies of the decade, and I think it's extremely underrated. I hated the movie, so I will defer to both of you guys.
I haven't seen it, so I'm not this.
Well, Austin, what do you think of Swiss Army Man?
Yeah, I actually liked it. It is weird. It is very strange. It's unlike anything which you can say for all the A24 films. But and I think a lot of it has to do with, I watched it with my wife, and we were both just like, and the whole time, how are we feeling about this? But as it progressed, we found ourselves laughing, and we kind of cared about Daniel Radcliffe, and we're like, oh, by the end of the movie, I liked it. But in terms of favorite A24 films, it's kind of out of the top 20, 25 for me. But still, I think a pretty okay film.
Yeah, I just couldn't, man. The farting corpse was funny, but then after a while, I was like, man, that's just bad. And then when it gets to the end, it gets really dark, and it's just like, this is kind of disgusting. Like I really don't like this. Is not sitting well
What
with me.
is this
So
movie about? Should I go watch it? This seems pretty interesting.
well, I'll let Austin try and sell you on that. So
I don't even know if I could describe it. You said it, farting corpse. I mean, that's it's he discovers Daniel Radcliffe's kind of washes up on the shore, and they're kind of stuck together, and he is a Swiss Army man, so he's capable of doing all of these different things like a Swiss Army knife, and they go on an adventure, that's for sure. But you will, I promise you, you will never see anything like this movie.
Yeah, it's
I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna watch it.
It's bizarre. It is just a weird movie. Okay, McLovin, which movie would you have liked to win Best Picture? For him, it is The Social Network, which I think, you're probably right. They should have won Best Picture. But yeah, do either of you guys have a pick for this one?
Yeah,
I'm always gonna be my response no matter what.
Loose.
Yeah, should have been that.
Fair enough. Yeah, I mean, I mean, Kelvin should have been nominated at least.
The Social Network would definitely be my choice, because I've been on record saying, well, The King's Speech won over Inception, Social Network, Toy Story 3. Okay. Last year, I preferred 1917 to Parasite, but I was so happy Parasite won. I was pretty happy for the first time in a long time.
Yeah, for sure.
Why does everyone? I really like The King's Speech.
It's good.
I don't hate it. Yeah.
As the other movies, in my opinion, I just think the other movies are just.
I totally agree. I really did enjoy it.
Oh yeah, no,
I like the movie.
It is really good, and I think Colin Firth is great in it, and so is Jeffrey Rush, and like it is a good movie. I just don't like when you stack it up against Inception, The Social Network. God, what else came out that year in 2010? I guess, Black Swan. The Fighter. Wasn't Toy Story 3 also nominated? Yeah, it's like when you kind of stack, and listen, I don't like Toy Story 3, but I think when you stack it up against those, you're just kind of like, that's the one you went with? Really? Like,
I feel like it makes sense for the Academy.
It does make sense. It unfortunately makes sense, but it's unfortunately that's the way they went. Okay, so Carl Lemonio asking, should they make a Pitch Perfect 4? I feel they should call it Pitch Perfect 4, The Apology. Sharonda, do you think we should get a Pitch Perfect 4, The Apology?
Only if it's that title.
Only if it's that title. Yeah. I haven't. I'm gonna be honest. I think I've only seen the first Pitch Perfect one, so I have no opinion on this.
It got halfway through the third.
Yeah,
maybe I watched the third one. I don't know. I know I watched the first two.
Yeah. I genuinely forgot there were 3 of them. Like I had no idea. But Austin, are you in for The Apology?
Love the first. Did not like the second two. So yes, if it is The Apology, absolutely. Otherwise, unfortunately, I don't want to see another one.
Yeah. I just feel like the shtick has sort of like run its course, you know?
Yeah.
It's like everyone like, you know, it like, how much is it going to change if you make a sequel, right? Like, oh, now instead of international competition, they're in galactic competition. Like, you know, I don't know. Like there's nothing more that they can really do there. But okay. Harold Thy Scarecrow asking, ideas for Fast and Furious 10 titles. 10 and Furious, Fast and 10, Fast 10 Furious. Ooh. Oh, I like that last one, Fast and Furious. That's clever. That's clever. Austin, you're the pun guy on the panel, so let's hear it.
Oh, I can't outdo the last one. Fast and Furious. Come on, man. Who is this? Harold Thy Scarecrow. You're a genius.
I was gonna say fasten your seatbelts. That'll be like the tagline. You know?
Good.
Yeah.
I can see
yeah. Come on. It's gotta happen.
I haven't done that yet.
Yeah, I know. Well, because they're waiting for 10. They're waiting for this movie. Oh my gosh. Do you have any puns? Sharonda?
Oh, you're talking to me. I'm sorry.
Yeah. No. Sorry. Yeah.
I'm terrible at puns. I only do puns by mistake, and then I catch it after the fact. So.
And then you're like, oh, I got that. You got it. I do. Yeah, I will say Fast 10 Furious is probably the best one out of there. So I think you're on the right track there. Okay, let's see. Strictly Starlight saying Perry Mason is brilliant. The theme song. Yeah, I love Perry Mason from what I've seen so far, which I think I'm caught up. I can't remember, but that is, you want to talk about just like an underrated gem of a TV show that just came out in the middle of the summer with Matthew Rhys is amazing. Like if you love your like noir detective stuff that's like set in a period, give it a watch. It's really, really good. I don't know. Have either of you guys watched it?
Not yet.
I actually started watching it the other day. So I was going to do weekly recaps, but I think I'm just going to binge the whole season on Monday, do a review. But I actually liked it. Some of my subscribers were saying they didn't like it. It was slow.
Really? Well,
just like, I actually like this. And it was new for season 2 already.
Yeah, I mean, I get the slow thing because it's like noirs are never going to be for everyone. There is like a certain pace that those things have, but I mean, I don't know, the intrigue is there, the acting is great, the writing's really solid. The concept alone is like, yeah, I'm like, yes, give me more of this. Perry Mason is awesome. So I can't recommend it enough. That's probably, it's like outside of I'll Be Gone Before Dark, Perry Mason is the show that I think I've been recommending to people the most, just because no one is talking about it. So Austin, watch Perry Mason. It's basically what we're saying.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. Jaron Talks Movies. Thanks for joining, man. So Iron Man and Batman are in a fight. Who's taking the cake? All right, Austin, let's hear it. Who's winning this thing?
Oh, that's tough. I mean, the easy answer is to say Batman because he's Batman. I mean, he always wins.
Prepared.
I would actually say Batman. He's going to find a way, as he does every superhero, and take Tony Stark down. All he's got to do is get him outside of the suit, and it's over. So I think Batman wins it.
Yeah, that's a good point, Sharonda.
Yeah, I'm definitely going with Batman, only because Iron Man would be talking so much smack that is going to annoy the heck out of Batman, and he's going to get the job done.
Yeah. I think that's right. I would go Batman too. Listen, Tony has too many flaws as a human being. I mean, Bruce does too, but at least he's more focused. I think Tony is just like, he's kind of a wild card. You never know where you're going to get in a battle. And so I feel like his own issues would kind of prevent him from, winning. His arrogance would sort of blind him. So, and Batman's always prepared. So there's your answer. Okay.
Who do you think is richer, Tony or Bruce?
Wait. Interesting.
I might say Tony. I feel like Tony has more access, more money, just in terms of what his company did and the shares that he has in his company. But that's a good question.
Yeah, because I feel like with Bruce, a lot of that, I mean, he's not really actively involved in the company that he's running. I mean, he's the trust fund baby, but he also he's doing whatever he wants. So like, I don't know. I guess that is true because Tony's the same way. I guess he did inherit his father's company. So, but he is innovating. So it's like he is
behind it too still.
Yeah. So I guess by innovating, he would be like actively trying to make the company more money. So I guess Tony, but I don't know. I mean, we have no idea how much money the Waynes have, if we're being honest. Like, it feels like an infinite supply of money. So
I agree with that.
Yeah, but I don't know. All right, let's see. Josephine DeMarco, what is your favorite film discovery this year? Not a 2020 movie, but an older movie you watched for the first time recently and loved. Great question. Sharonda, do you have one?
I don't know if I really watched any old movies this year. But a movie my brother used to always watch was Primal Fear with Richard Norton and Laura Linney. A very, very fantastic film. I would definitely recommend that movie for people to watch.
Yeah, Primal Fear is so good. I think Edward Norton was nominated for that, right? He was nominated for the film. I don't know if he won though, but it was you're right. That's a really good movie. And Richard Gere is excellent in that too. But Austin, what do you got for this?
I just this last week watched Richard Linklater's The Before trilogy for the first time.
Oh
my goodness. I changed the way I look at romantic movies. It's the greatest. Seriously, it is one of the greatest trilogies I've ever seen. Every movie is fantastic in its own way, and it's one of the only trilogies I can look at and say, all three could be considered the best of the trilogy. I mean, if you all have never seen this movie, or this trilogy, it is so fantastic.
Yeah, for sure. No, I think that I agree with you. They sort of like, I don't want to say revolutionized like romance movies like that, but it's like it's just such an interesting concept that
so simple.
I don't know. It's so simple, and it's like it all comes down to just like Richard Linklater's like his ability to capture just like genuine human emotions and interactions, and like Ethan Hawke, they're so good in that. So yeah, that's a good one. For me, I had never seen La Haine before, and it came recommended to me by one of our viewers, Shift YSL, which we actually did an episode of our Criterions and Classics talking about that. It's a French film that stars Vincent Cassel, and it has like shades of Do the Right Thing in it, but it's taking place during like, you know, the aftermath of this I think there was a Muslim guy who was killed by the police, and so a bunch of riots started. It just a very timely and topical film, and so I watched that, and it really just kind of floored me. I mean, it's not very long, but it is like a major like gut punch. So I had no idea what to expect, and I walked out of it just kind of like floored. It was superb and incredibly well acted, and the ending is just, oh my gosh, it's amazing. So yeah, that one for me, that one was a really pleasant surprise. I see we do have a few super chats in here, so I will get to those quickly. Sorry for not getting to them sooner. So Marshall Boy in here, thank you so much, man. Rank these 4: Logan, Joker, The Dark Knight, and Endgame. Sharonda?
Why would you pick me first? Fine.
I don't know, because it felt like the right thing to do.
This is really weird because I feel as though like Joker is so different from the other three, right? Yeah. And maybe from a story standpoint, I could compare Joker and Dark Knight together.
Yeah.
Okay. This will be controversial, but it's okay.
Let's hear it. Let's do it.
I'm going to go with The Dark Knight first. Okay.
You're second guessing.
And then I'm going to go with, I don't know what to do. Okay. Fine. I can do this. The Dark Knight is first.
Okay, we've established that. Good.
I think I love The Dark Knight for the story and also for the villain.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to say Joker. Yes, I said it, Joker. And then I'm going to go Endgame and then Logan. I wasn't the hugest fan of Logan like everyone else because I'm a huge fan of the Old Man Logan comics. And for me, with the source material that they had to work with, they didn't go deep enough for me. Like if it wasn't for X23, I would have not cared about that movie. So yeah,
that's fair. When you bring up the interesting thing, whereas like with Logan, like I think it's a great, well-made movie, and it could have been more emotional had the previous like Wolverine films been better, right? So it's like it feels like a really great finale with the lack of a proper build-up. But Austin, where are you going with these?
Dark Knight 1 for sure, because that's one of my favorite movies. I would actually put Logan at 2. I loved Logan, everything about it. I thought it was awesome. You know, I like the comics. I'm not a huge like Old Man Logan. I was okay with them kind of going in a different direction. It's really good.
You didn't like the Hulk babies or whatever.
There's some stuff in there. It's like, if you do something different, and it made some of those other X-Men movies just like it's so much better than those. For 3, I would go Endgame. Another movie that I'm just over the moon about. I love that experience. And then crazy enough, I love Joker. It was in my top 10 of last year, but I would say Joker at number 4. It's a very different film than the other ones though, because you're talking about a villain as opposed to 3 movies focused on heroes.
Yeah, for sure. I think for me, I am going The Dark Knight, Endgame, Logan, and Joker. Not that I dislike Joker. I like Joker quite a bit. I think the others are a little bit more original in their ambitions. Still love Joker, but I think that would be
a movie that I like really enjoyed outside of Iron Man and Guardians of the Galaxy. I never really cared for films. They just don't do it for me.
Yeah, for sure. I got you. Thank you for the super chat, man. I really appreciate it. I did have a question here from Movie Files that I did want to answer, but I lost it somewhere. So, Elliot, if you want to put that in the chat, I think you had it a little bit further up, something about YouTube. Feel free to put that in there. But I will answer the question that you have right now, which is, what advice would you give to someone wanting to start a YouTube or podcast and sharing their opinions on films and shows in today's social media climate? Austin, do you want to start with this one?
Yeah, I'll keep mine simple. Have patience, because not everything's going to come at once, and you're going to get frustrated, and you're going to try to figure out, what makes me stand out from everyone else. And I think both of you two do a great job of standing out from the crowd, because you each have your own brand and you're really good at what you do. But there's also this focus on your channel where you do individual things that are a bit different than everyone else. And that's the other thing I would say is find something that sets you apart from the crowd. It doesn't even have to be reviews. It can be, rankings, tier lists, all of those things. I'm going to focus on, this genre. I'm going to focus on classic movies. Find something that allows you to stand out. But again, patience is really important, because it's going to take a little while to build it up to where you want it to be.
Yeah, for sure. Sharonda.
Yeah, I would say, piggybacking it off of Austin, I think the most important thing is to ask yourself, when you watch film criticism on YouTube, what's missing to you, and figure out how you can fill that void. Because the main reason why I started my channel was because I never saw anyone who looked like me doing film criticism, and that's why I did what I did. But I think it's important, because you have so many people. If I need to know what am I going to spend my time watching on Netflix, I'm going to go to Austin's channel to figure that out. If I want to hear an essay, I'm going to go to Griffin's channel and figure that out. I think that you have to have something that people aren't doing and just become the authority in that, on that subject, because people watch so many different YouTube. I'm sure all of our followers overlap with one another, because there's something that we all bring to the table. But also, too, I would have to say you have to be consistent, especially when you're trying to grow. It's gonna suck, but you have to do everything with in means of what you can actually handle. Just because so many people who already have the audience, they know that they're going to watch your stuff no matter when they put it up. So you always want to try to be first to get your stuff out there, and just make sure, just be yourself. I try to make sure that when people meet me in person, that I'm the same person that they see on my YouTube channel. There's no difference between the two Sharondas that you see. Just be authentic and be consistent, but you have to be consistent.
Yeah, that is key. And I think that's something that all of us struggle with, is consistency. Whether it is a YouTube channel or a podcast or whatever. It's if you're just throwing stuff, it's we're going to put out an episode this week, and then we're not going to put out another episode for 2 months or something like that. Why would anyone come to watch you? Because it's they have no idea when they're getting content. And it's well, why am I wasting my time here when I could spend my time with another channel or another podcast or something like that does something similar? So yeah, I think those are both really good points. I completely agree with the, being yourself, being real in front of the camera. I think people can see right through phoniness. So if you're putting on a facade and you're just trying to, impress people or I don't know, have a made up personality online, people they're going to see that. So don't do that, and be honest with your opinions. Don't say something because you think it's the cool thing to say, or you think that it's the trendy thing to say, or you want to be contrarian. I hate people online who say stuff just to be contrarian, because I know that's not exactly how they feel. It'll get you clicks, but it'll also that's not how you want to build a community or a fan base. And then again, agreeing with Austin said, do something that's unique to you and that makes you original. Like, I get it. Film criticism and movie YouTube is like a really saturated space, but there is still like so much you can do to carve out your own niche. Like, for me, my big thing was, okay, I really want to have a thoughtful approach to film criticism. I want to like, I don't want to go full video essay all the time, but I do want to give you an in-depth discussion and analysis. I want to take the mindset of written film criticism and bring it to a video format that is palatable and isn't overly pretentious. So like, that's sort of like been my MO when I create reviews. And so it's, yes, I am doing reviews like everyone else, but when you watch one of my videos, my hope is that you get something different out of it than you would if you watched, another person's review, which they probably hope the same thing, that you get something different out of their video that you would when you watch my video. So I would just say do it. Do whatever makes you happy. Don't just like follow trends. And then just be real with it, So that's sort of like my quick 2 cents on that one. But yeah, good question.
Can I say one more thing?
Go for it. Yeah.
If you guys ever want to get to the point where you're doing interviews, you're interviewing talent or you're meeting talent, stuff like that, one of the things that I will say, because I say whatever I feel when I'm feeling it at the time, so I always have to excuse myself after I put my video out. Imagine that, just know that what you put out on the web, that potentially someone involved with that project, director, the actor, like a publicist, when you're trying to request an interview, they will go back and watch videos. Like, just make sure that what you put out, I know that it's always fun to like trash movies and that's going to get you 15 million clicks and stuff like that. But just always be aware that somebody is always watching. Like, I have literally met people who I know knew nothing about me, and they're like, "Oh, I watched your video."
Yeah.
So you really like. I'm just telling you. Just make sure that when you can be critical or something, just do it in a respectful way, because somebody's always watching.
Well, because that's the thing. It's like even if, look, I think even if you dislike a movie, I think someone out there had a vision, and maybe the film that you disliked is exactly what they wanted you to see, and like they're proud of it and they put a lot of time into it. And so I don't think that should go unrecognized. Now, I will say I think there are instances when you can clearly tell that it's corporate crap, and I think that it's okay to call films out on doing that. But always do it in a respectful way. Because I agree. You never know who's watching. You never know what this stuff can do to bite you in the ass. And if you want to be professional in the space, if you want to do this for real, you can't just be shitting on movies for the sake of doing it. Don't be CinemaSins. Don't be the million other rage click channels out there. That's not the way to do this. So thanks for the question. I think it's a really, really great and important question to have answered. So Dennis S, best paced movie for me, it would be Star Wars Episode 4, The Social Network, or Fellowship of the Ring. Austin, do you have anything different here than what Dennis has said?
Social Network's a great call. I would say anything Denis Villeneuve, maybe not anything, but the majority of his films, I think pacing is one thing he does well, whether it's Sicario, it's a slower movie, but it works. Arrival, Blade Runner 2049. For me, I know everyone wasn't a fan, but I think with his movies, pacing really, really works. And it always manages to keep you interested, even though I think some will see them as slow. And again, that's okay. It all comes down to interpretation, but he does a great job with his films.
Yeah, Sharonda.
I really agree with Social Network and Fellowship.
Fellowship is really well paced.
So much happening that I never had time to look at my watch or like, how much more time do we have left? I just think it's just very well done movies.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think all of the Lord of the Rings movies are really well paced. Maybe the third one kind of pushes the limit a little bit there. But yeah, Fellowship is amazing. Two Towers is incredible. I'm glad that you mentioned the original Star Wars, because I think that's something that people don't give that movie credit for. That film really moves, but it never feels like it's just like like brushing through everything. Like it actually it's got a nice energy to it, but yet different from what JJ did with The Force Awakens. So like I think the original Star Wars is incredibly well paced. So can
I add a Rocky one, 1917? Because I think that even though it's literally, I had several heart attacks watching 1917. I think that it literally captures like there's war, like I've been wars like that. But I think for the slow moments where, in the beginning where we really don't know and these characters don't know what they're getting themselves into, I think that the pacing is literally perfect because they know it just takes you on this journey. And at the times when they slow down, is needed, is warranted. I just think that it's a very well-paced film for what we're witnessing on screen.
Yeah, no, that's a really good point. And actually to that point, I would add Dunkirk. I think Dunkirk's an excellently paced movie because the whole film is like emulating a Shepard's tone. And it's like the constant buildup of the pacing. Wait, what'd you say?
You know how I feel about Dunkirk.
Oh, I know. It's okay. It's okay. I had to bring it up. I have to bring Dunkirk up at least every once in a while. But yeah, I think that I don't know. I love the pacing on that. I think a lot of the I'll say oh shit, what was I gonna say? I completely lost it. A lot of the movies that are like beloved classics or big popular blockbusters, a lot of those films are really paced so well. Like Raiders has such a great pace to it. Back to the Future. So I mean, really, you can't go wrong with any of those. So great question. Something that we actually don't often think about that I think is important in like how you view a film. A little bit of a tangent, but I was watching the Bela Lugosi Dracula last night for the first time because I had Peacock and I'm like, okay, classic Universal monster movies. And I'm watching that and I'm like, I remember loving this, like growing up, like it being my favorite Universal monster movie. But man, once they get away from Transylvania, this thing just like dips in pacing and it just becomes a slugfest. And I mean, a lot of that is out of their control, just given the time period they came out in. But I don't know. I don't think it held up as well for me. So you're right. Pacing is it's important. Okay, Kieran Langer asking, do you guys think Zack Snyder will reveal any footage during Justice Con tonight? Yeah, I think we're gonna get probably a new trailer and maybe like a clip. But Sharonda, what do you think? Are we getting anything?
I would see a trailer. I don't know. Do you really feel like he will let go of a clip right now? Yeah, I think so. Because they're not gonna. I mean, he's already teased that he's gonna put some stuff out, right? Like whether or not it's like a little teaser trailer or just like a 5-second clip. Not 5 second, but like like a minute long clip or something like that. I think we will get very little footage, but we will get footage nonetheless because it's just given the nature of the event, and I don't think they're going to have as much of a presence at DC Fandom. So that would be my guess. But Austin,
trailer, possible clip. I hope he's not. I don't think he will, but bringing things that I want to hold out for because. Obviously, we've seen most of the movie, right? In a different way, I guess. Yeah. But your Green Lantern reveal, your major, even more of Darkseid, like I want to hold that and I want to see that when we get the movie and maybe just show us a cool, well-paced trailer that shows us what we've seen before, but with Zack Snyder's touch.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, Harold Thy Scarecrow again asking unpopular opinion. I thought The Conjuring was an awful movie. Wow. Okay. Wow. Does anyone agree with that here?
Nope. Yeah, I like The Conjuring.
I love The Conjuring. I mean, it's great. Like it is. I think it's already like a horror classic. Like it's a staple of the genre for sure. I don't know. I didn't like The Conjuring 2 as much as I liked the first Conjuring.
No, it was scary to me, and I saw that like in the theater myself. Like I was not scared at all, and I'm easily scared by anything. Yeah. So.
Yeah. No, I think The Crooked Man really took me out of it. I was like, well, what are we doing here? Like, this is, I keep it focused on the nun. But yeah, no, I love The Conjuring. It's a great movie. But I see, Zach hated The Conjuring. 402 hated The Conjuring. Harold saying it's just an R-rated version of Insidious. I disagree. I think there is some overlap in what they're tackling, and I think Insidious was the prototype for The Conjuring, but they are very different movies. So, and if you ask people what they prefer, I think most people would say The Conjuring. That's not to say that you're wrong, but I do think that is an unpopular opinion, as you've put it.
But we respect your opinion.
But yes, your opinion matters, Harold. Believe me, it is okay. I have some ridiculous movie opinions that I put out there that are far worse than what you just said. So I get it. Okay, NBR saying top Studio Ghibli film. Do any of you guys do you watch any of the Studio Ghibli? Okay, we're gonna go with Austin then because he's the fan here.
Spirited Away. I love that movie. It is beautiful. The animation is fantastic. Although I did just rewatch My Neighbor Totoro, and it's moving on up there, man. It's a nice movie as well, but Spirited Away is definitely my number one.
Yeah, that's a good one, Sharonda.
I'm trash. I haven't watched any, but I've been seeing everyone talk about this on Film Twitter for the past month and a half. And I said that August came, I was going to make time to start watching films. Yeah. I'm going to do better. I'm going to do right by you guys. Yeah. And I'm going to watch.
I need to watch more myself because I think I've only seen like Kiki's Delivery Service and maybe The Cat Returns, but I loved Kiki's Delivery Service. So, I mean, by default, I have to say that. Oh, wait, no, I saw Ponyo too. Ponyo's good.
When did Kiki's Delivery Service come out? Because is that the girl in the broom?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, wait. How long ago was that?
That was like in the 90s.
It was a while ago, yeah.
I have seen something. Okay.
There you go. There you go. Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, Kiki's is good. Kiki's is good. Kiki's is good. It's probably my favorite. So, all right, let's see. Got some super chats in here that I'll get to in a moment. Got a lot of questions. You guys are really coming in great with the questions here. We see Zach is in here, so we gotta give a shout out to Zach Pope. Zach asking, what's a director that you hope and wish would jump out of their normal genre, and who like what do you want to see them work with next? Sharonda, do you have a director?
I mean, I just saw mine with Gina Prince Bythewood with the Old Guard. I thought that she did fantastic going into the action genre. I mean, she's a director. Her movies, especially, the Black community with Love and Basketball, like one of the all-time favorites. Watching her do this and actually watching a film that just does so well on character development, on the emotional connection of really making you have to think about the perils of having immortality. Just the way that they really delved into all of that. I thought she did a really fantastic job, especially for this to be her first, action genre comic book adaptation. I just thought that she really knocked it out of the park.
Yeah, that's a great pick. Austin.
I would say it's funny because he's a comedian who directs horror. I would say Jordan Peele. I would like to see what he does, maybe more of with I know Us and Get Out too. It had thriller aspects and elements to it, but I would say more of a dramatic thriller and kind of stray away from what he's done with his first two films, because he's one of I think his direction in both of those movies, some of the best of those specific years. So I would love to see him do something different.
Yeah. Oh gosh. Whenever I think of the really like the top tier, like great directors, I always say, I want to see them do a horror film, because I think that's, it's sort of like a different skill set. But they're all like super talented. So taking what they know about the craft and kind of like, getting into a different medium, that could be interesting. I mean, Tarantino doing a horror movie, or Tarantino doing like a sci-fi movie for his last film. I think that's interesting because it's like he's never done anything even remotely close to that. So that would be cool. Man, yeah, I don't know. I want to see Ari Aster do a comedy, like a dark comedy, like that would be, because I feel like with Hereditary and Midsommar, and then like understanding his influences, I feel like he could do really well in there. It'd be like some fucked up dark comedy. So I'd be down for that. Down for that. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Gonna get back to some super chats here. Shit. Where are they? Okay. Well. Oh, there we go. Okay. Zaya asking, I love Batman, but he's kind of overhyped when it comes to fights. If he was always prepared, he would have his back snapped like a pencil by Bane. Well, I think you got to take into account how he went into that fight. He went in headstrong. He had been out of the game for so long that he just was like, well, I'm just going to jump back into being Batman again because I'm Batman and I need to do this. And he was a little naive, and we saw what happened. He was underprepared. So he got his back broken. And I think that's the case there. I don't know how you guys feel about this, but
it's tough because a movie like The Dark Knight Rises, circumstances and the situation he was in was not what you expect to see Batman in. And I even look at the Nolan trilogy and say, well, and it really comes down to the choreography. I love that trilogy, but I don't think the fight choreography is the best, right? So maybe you can watch those movies and be like, oh, Batman's not a very good fighter. It's very distinct, and I get what they were going for, but then you see, what Ben Affleck's Batman does in Batman v Superman in that fight scene. I'm like, oh, dude, he's taking some heads off in that scene, right? So I'm excited to see what they do with Pattinson and see what kind of fight style we get and see if I can really say, okay, Batman can take anyone down. Maybe not in the first movie, but as we progress, see that get a bit better. So that's
for sure.
Yeah, like Ben Affleck Batman, I would say is the best Batman in regards to fights. I mean, literally, he's the one who's been able to like kick crap out of Superman. And then also too, it's like the type of fighting style that he has as Batman, because he's kind of a more mature Batman than what we've seen, in previous films. And he's a more fight dirty, type of Batman. So I think Bane would have had some trouble with Ben Affleck Batman. I'm just thinking.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah, no, I think those are all good points. Okay, I know we got a few more super chats that I'll address, but I do want to answer Elliot's question here. From when you all first started to now, what's different from your channel / content and opinions on film / shows, and what has stayed the same? Big fan of all of you, and have a great stream. Oh, thanks so much, man. Really appreciate your questions. They've been great. So, Austin, let's start with you. What's changed?
Oh, well, I mean, in terms of, I started out in my college dorm and everyone thought I recorded in a prison cell. Like, you in jail, man? With the big cinder blocks behind me. I'm just like, I mean, kind of, but not really. No, I mean, just, quality and I'm still working on stuff, right? I'm still working on getting a new camera. I'm still working on this and that, but it's like, you get married, you have car payments, you trying to buy a house. It's like all of these things. But in terms of content, like I kind of moved into streaming more so. Like I still, try to see as many movies as when we were getting movies, try to go to the theater 2 or 3 times on that Thursday and Friday to see movies. Since the nearest, like in terms of early screeners, I'm working on that outside of the Netflix and streaming space right now. Cause my nearest place that has screeners is Nashville, which is 3.5 hours from me. So I'm working on I have to drive 3.5 hours to do that. So I'm working on that portion of my channel. But in terms of like where I've progressed to from then to now, I hope has been a big difference. And I hope my opinions still resonate with people and even to the people around me in the way that they did when I first started. Cause I don't want to be one of those people that's like, oh, he's changed. He's turned into a horrible person as he's done YouTube. I'm like, no, I still love movies and love people, So I hope that sticks as I keep going.
Yeah, for sure. Sharonda.
Yeah, a lot has changed since I started my channel. I still want to find more time. That's like Austin puts out so much content. I always talk about Austin in my chats because literally, when I don't want to record something, I just go to Austin's channel and I'm just like, if Austin put up a video, I'm just gonna get up and I'm gonna go record. Like
he's an inspiration, yeah.
But I still work a full-time job, so I still work a 9 to 5 and do all of this on the side. But I would say, kind of the advice that I had given, you just never know who's watching, and I would have never thought from starting my channel 3 years ago to now being able to do interviews and actually interview talent and go to festivals and stuff like that. I like never in a million years thought that would be something that I would be doing on a consistent basis. And then just like Austin had made the switch to streaming, so have I. And to be honest, I enjoy doing TV a little bit more. Like I love movies, but it's kind of just a one and done type of thing. And you like move on or wait for the next movie to come out. I would say that I really, really enjoy television, doing that. And it's just a different type of audience and engagement that you get from your subscribers, like week in and week out, or even if it's something that we binge the weekend for Netflix, it's just a different type of thing that you get with television.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, I guess for me, the obvious thing would be like I completely changed the name of my channel and did a brand change. So that was the big thing. It went from like myself and a couple of my closest friends talking about movies, doing entirely too much than what we could handle in college, to just me focusing on being more professional, taking this seriously like a full-time job and everything, and really trying to be a better film commentator, critic, journalist, and all that good stuff. I think I mean, by doing this, just by the nature of doing it, you learn how to talk about film and television better. Like you become more articulate in what you're trying to say. I feel like that's the big thing. When you first start out, you're like, yeah, that was really cool. Yeah, that was good. I really enjoyed that. And so it's like, and you're not getting specific enough, or you're not like, you're just saying the same thing over and over again. With practice, you learn to become more comfortable in front of a camera. You learn how to, just talk about movies and certain aspects of it. So I think that's like the big thing for sure. And then for me, I mean, this whole like just doing YouTube, I've become so much of just like a tech. Like I've become obsessed with just the tech that goes into making this stuff. So like lighting, audio is a big one for me, and then like cameras and whatnot. Because it's just like, this has been the thing since I started the channel. If I'm going to put out content, I want it to look professional. I want it to look the best that it can be. And so it's like the production quality of my stuff has really like evolved over the years and increased to where it is now. So yeah, I mean, I feel like I'm the same, but I'm also different. And I'm never going to like not tell you how I feel about certain things. So yeah, thanks for the question, man. Great one. Okay, Eddie S. This one should be fun. Eddie S., if you were stuck in the universe of the last movie you saw, would you survive? Sharonda, what was the last movie you saw? So
we just finished Radioactive, so heck no. I would not.
Austin?
I watched The Rental, so probably no. Probably somebody watching me all the time. No, I don't think
yeah.
So.
So I was doing a Peacock double feature last night. I watched Dracula. So if we're going off of that, no. Although to be fair, I'm not like the woman that he's going after. So maybe I end up surviving. I have no idea. But after Dracula, I started watching Shrek, in which case I don't think I'm surviving in the world of, well, maybe I do. I have no idea. But like with ogres and all these fairy tale things, I mean, who knows? It'd be very interesting, to say the least. I think it'd be a toss-up as to whether I would survive in the world of Shrek. So thanks for that question. That's a fun one. Okay, I see we got some super chats in here that I need to get to, so let's try and find those. Zach Marsh saying, Before Sunset is incredibly paced. Of all the set and real-time films ever made, it's probably the one that feels the most true to how life moves. That's a good one. Yeah, I agree. Before Sunset is really, really paced. I don't know, Austin, what's your favorite out of the Before trilogy?
It's actually Before Sunset, and I see a lot of Sunrise as the favorite. But again, you can't go wrong. But if I had to choose one, I would say Before Sunset. And it's really what Zach says here. It's just so incredibly paced, and I'm there. You're there with them, walking around, engaged in that conversation. So I have to agree with that.
Yeah. No, that is a good point. Okay, 402-1971 asking movies that made you never want to go to New York City. Mine would be the original 1970 version of The Out of Towners. So dark, funny, nightmarish. If I didn't live in New York City, wouldn't come here after seeing it. That's a good question. Because gosh, I don't know. You can go serious with this. You can go like sci-fi and outlandish with this. I don't know. Austin, do you have a pick for this?
Oh, gosh, I mean, Honestly, I guess this counts as anywhere, but when I watched Men in Black for the first time, I'm like, I just want to stay away from like big cities and things like this. And this was when I was really, really young. I'm like, because like, what if aliens are real and they gravitate towards these cities with a lot of people? It's like, I'm just going to stay in Kentucky for right now. So it was really that franchise that made me want to stay away from more populated areas like that.
Yeah, for sure. Sharonda.
So Summer Sam really traumatized me when I was younger because I was killed. Like, people get killed when I go to New York. What is happening right now?
Yeah.
I'm definitely not going anywhere near there. But that was just when I was younger. I've been there since then. I'm not the hugest fan of New York, but
right.
Like, no, that's not for me.
Yeah. I mean, I love going to New York, so I don't that doesn't bother me. I'll still go, but I will say when I watched The Day After Tomorrow, I was like, okay, if something like this happens, I don't want to be in New York City because everything's gonna go to hell. So and listen, that movie is just a wild trip, and everyone's screwed no matter where they are, but especially in New York City, you are doubly screwed. So that would probably be the one. For me personally, I mean, maybe I don't know, maybe Escape from New York too, just given the nature of the film. But I think Day After Tomorrow would be my pick. Fun question, thank you for that. Okay, Film Geese with the super chat, thank you so much. Thoughts on The Rental, and do you like Franco behind the camera? If so, what do you want to see him do next? Horror, comedy, suspense. So I actually do have a review of The Rental that I did with Jaron Buckendall over on the channel. Definitely feel free to check that out. But the short version is I thought it was okay. It kind of starts out as something different and then kind of divulges into just a slasher movie, which is kind of disappointing. And it's like, if they had stuck with one of those angles, it would have been like throughout the entire film, it would have been better. But it's just, I mean, it's just kind of generic. I do think Franco has good potential behind the camera. He does a great job of creating atmosphere. It feels confident enough from a direction standpoint, but I felt like he didn't entirely know what he wanted to do with the material. And I don't know if horror is really the right genre for him, but Austin, what are your thoughts on The Rental? Just brief.
I agree with you. I'm right down the middle on the film. Some things works, other things they just, they didn't really work for me. I like Franco's style though, and I would like to see him maybe tackle a comedy. I feel like he's comfortable enough there being an actor to do that from a director standpoint. So I think that's what he needs to do next. Yeah,
for sure. Sharonda, or you haven't seen the film?
I'm only halfway in, but I do have a question for you too. Okay. So early on, I have an issue with how they handle race, or I guess more so discrimination, in the beginning of the film. What's the brother's girlfriend name? Is it Mia? What's her name?
I don't even remember in the film, but So it's interesting that you mentioned that, because that is something that I think they tried to explore.
They do explore it later.
Well, very briefly, they kind of just lay the foundation and then they discard it and it becomes something else. So I don't necessarily like that. I feel like it would have become something. So it's something like way better had they actually spent the time to explore that, because that's a lot of the character stuff that they set up at the beginning of the movie. That's interesting, and I almost wish the film would have been like a psychological thriller where it's like their guilt and their own like insecurities about things are coming out and it's manifesting themselves and they're super paranoid. That should have been where the film went. Unfortunately, no. There's like an outside factor and it just becomes a slasher. So. Okay, let's see. Please don't spam the chat. I am just now seeing that, so don't do that. Let's see. We gotta find some questions. Okay, there's a super chat here from Tyler Van. Thank you so much, man. Funny how you mentioned Bela Lugosi. I just watched Ed Wood before the Tim Burton Johnny Depp movie. So good and underrated. Favorite Tim Burton film? Sharonda, what do you got?
Edward Scissorhands.
Edward Scissorhands? Yeah, that's a good one. Mm-hmm. That's a good one.
That's me. Even him looking that way still survived my Johnny Depp crush in the 90s. And, it's just an out there film, but I loved it so much, and it's like touching. It's actually touching at the same time. But
yeah, for sure. Shit, why did I just blank? Okay, Austin, what is your? I felt like I had something to say, and then I was like, no, I don't. I don't. Austin, what do you got?
I'm also probably Edward Scissorhands, but I could also say Beetlejuice. I loved Beetlejuice growing up. That movie is crazy in all the right ways, and Michael Keaton is so good. And those two for me.
Yeah. That's a good one. I think for Burton, I always go back to Sweeney Todd. I love Sweeney Todd, and you want to talk about another great Johnny Depp performance, and Helena Bonham Carter, and the music is excellent. So I think that's one that I always go to. But I shout out to Sleepy Hollow. I think Sleepy Hollow is kind of underrated by him.
So it was a TV show.
The TV. That's right. You were a fan of the TV show, weren't you?
I was.
Yeah.
They keep him so dirty. It's okay. I'm trying to let it go. It's still a rough one. I heard. Okay.
Yeah, I never got around to watching that, but I'd always been like kind of intrigued. My parents really liked it.
I mean, that's how I was introduced to Nicole Bahari, who's like a fantastic actress. She was actually on Sleepy Hollow. It's definitely worth it to me.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, let's see. Guys, start sending in some final questions here. We'll probably take about 10 minutes more worth of questions, so start sending them in. I got to sort of like navigate this thing because there's so much spam in here. Okay, I don't know how much video games that you, or actually maybe we won't touch on that one. Okay. Let's see.
We're not going to do that.
Well, yeah, I was just like, yeah. Okay, we'll just throw this one up for Zach while I search for more. Sharonda, starting with you, what do you feel are your strengths and weaknesses when it comes to YouTube?
My weakness is consistency, because I like to be my bubbly self. If I am depressed or if I have anxiety, or if I'm just tired, I just don't record. I watch so much stuff, and then I just be like, I don't feel like recording it today. I just can't do it. So that is definitely a weakness of mine. I think that I watch too much content to the point where either I feel burned out or that just mentally I can't even bring myself to review like what I saw. And my strengths, I don't know. I guess because I say how I feel, even though I never say it in the right way, or I get in trouble by my mother or father, whoever's watching my videos today. But yeah.
That's fair enough. Austin?
I could say a strength is trying to watch everything I can, but that also turns into a weakness at a point, because it's like, am I putting out so much content to where I'm not focusing in all of my effort on this one video? If I put out, 2 videos, 3 videos a day, it's like, I want it, quantity, not quality, vice versa. So I think that could turn into a weakness. And then I'm kind of with Sharonda. It's just, sometimes you just get in these moods. You're like, I don't know if I can be, or you record and you just seem frustrated the whole time. It's like, I'm going to take an hour. Yeah. I'm going to see what happens. It's just, I say consistency. I post a lot on my channel, but I want to make sure the quality's always there. And sometimes I watch a video, even after posting, I'm like, I don't know if I did that as well as I could have done that. And maybe that's just me kind of critiquing myself. And we all feel that way about our own channels, but I hope to get better at that in the future and making sure I put all in on one video or whatever video I'm working on, and continue that as the week progresses.
And of course, the one movie that you think that you did terrible recording, that is always the video.
It's always the one.
Every time.
I agree. I completely agree.
Yeah, it's always the one that blows up for whatever reason. Yeah. I think for me, I mean, and I think this is the case for many of us, is just like the perfectionist nature. It's like you don't want to put something out that you're like, oh man, I could have done that a little bit better. Or oh man, maybe I could have done, maybe I shouldn't have done that or whatever. So, or the audio didn't sound great here. And of course it does the best. So yeah, like the perfectionist nature is definitely something that I struggle with. As I think is a weakness. I also think that sometimes getting in the mindset to record, like sometimes I just want to watch a movie and I don't want to review it. And I don't want
to watch something for me. Talk about it.
Yeah, exactly. And so there's a lot of times when I'm like, fuck, I really don't want to. And then I end up putting off the review for a couple of days. And then it's like, well, everyone else has the review out. So I've already just shat the bed. The window is closed and I've just messed up. So that's the lazy. I don't know if I call it laziness, but just like taking a break a little bit is something I struggle with.
Burnout. It's
a little burnout. Yeah.
Reaching out to studios, getting screeners. And then when you have 15 million things releasing on one day, or like embargoes are different. It's really hard. Like it's so hard, especially if you have to binge like a whole series. It just so much time out of your day to do that. Like
I also think that oh shit, now I'm blanking again. My brain is fried. I was gonna piggyback off of something you said there, but but like putting all in all that work, it's why I think. Now I just remember what I was gonna say. It's why I think like sometimes streaming stuff is so much easier. And you know, yes, it can come across as lazy because I don't feel like putting the work into a properly edited video. But like when you take into account the amount of time it takes to shoot, record, or to watch the movie, record the video, edit it. Yep, get ready.
When I record something, I just didn't want to put on makeup today. It's just like I'm never.
Well, yeah, I mean, when you do when you do a stream, you can just throw it all out there. I mean, obviously you have to be comfortable enough doing like it all in one take, and I think there are certain things you do have to prepare for a stream if you want it to have great replay value, which is a whole other issue. The other problem when you do streams is like sometimes you end up going for too long because you don't know when you cut yourself off. So you might be reviewing a movie and it might be like a 30-minute stream talking about this movie because you don't know how to cut yourself off. And then, that becomes a whole other nightmare. But on the whole, I do think sometimes streaming content is a little bit easier and it's better. And it allows for audience participation too, But in terms of my strengths, I mean, I think that I do a good job of communicating my thoughts and opinions. And then I also think that like, I know how to like shoot and edit videos. Like I've done it for long enough that I think the production value of my stuff, I just feel confident in that. So I'd say that is probably some
nice. And this is just sappy person in me. If we would have gave everyone their strengths, like if we would have gave each other, like, this is what I love about you and your channel.
Oh, I like that.
You missed. Yeah, damn it, we missed a great opportunity.
Opportunities. Okay.
Yeah. Next time that question comes up, we'll do it. Okay, LA Bruce Wayne asking best movie with an animal in it.
Oh, that's tough.
I mean, does like Jurassic World count, or?
I guess it could technically.
Okay.
Yeah. I guess that's true. The Jurassic Park movies could count. Austin, are you going to piggyback off of that, or?
Yeah, I love what. That's a great pick, Jurassic Park. That is my choice.
That's gonna be your pick. Yeah. I think for me, I go King Kong. Because I love, and Peter Jackson's King Kong. That is one of my favorite movies of all time. So yeah, I would probably go with that just because I think you get the emotions, you get the humans, and their interaction with nature, and whatnot. I also think, you could go with something like Homeward Bound is fun, the dogs and stuff. I mean, obviously the regulations in place weren't very good at the time, I imagine, but yeah, no, I'd probably go King Kong for me. Let's see, a few more questions here, guys. So just send in your final ones, and then we can then we'll start to close.
I've got one for this latest question. Cats, best movie with an animal in it, right?
Is that your final answer?
That's it. That's the best movie of all time. Number one. The greatest.
I also saw someone put Jaws in there. So that would, I mean, technically it's a, another one. It's a shark, I guess. Well, not even, I guess it is a shark, which is an animal. So yeah. Okay. Ganya here with the super chat. Thank you so much, dude. Really appreciate it. Been subscribed to each of your channels for years. Just wanted to say, love all your content and keep up the great work. P.S. Austin, please persuade them to watch Cobra Kai when it arrives on Netflix. Austin, give us your pitch to watch Cobra Kai. Why should we care?
Even if you don't like Karate Kid or you're not familiar, I mean, it's just the most fun you'll have watching a show. It's so self-aware. It captures the time period that the original Karate Kid came out. It's a bit satirical. It's a bit overly comedic for some, but it'll have you laughing out loud, emotional moments. Almost every episode leaves on some kind of cliffhanger, and the first 2 seasons are a blast. So I would recommend this to anyone on Netflix.
Should we rewatch the movies first before we start the series?
Yeah, that's the thing.
I did one. I rewatched one and went straight into the series, and they almost kind of fill in the gaps as they go through the series. You remember that when this happened and this happened, so you may not have to, but it would probably be beneficial if you did.
Yeah, that's sort of been my thing. Is like I don't care enough about Karate Kid to like want to watch it, and then also like I don't want to sit down and have to rewatch Karate Kid before watching Cobra Kai. So
when is really fun. Come out?
They've not announced it yet, but I believe 1 and 2's coming on Netflix at the end of the month, at the end of August. And then they're going to announce the next season over the next couple of months. So I would say within the next year, if I had to guess, because they've already worked on it and everything. So
we have time.
Yeah. That's good. As long as we have time, that's all that matters.
Yeah.
I just started Lucifer. Catching up on that before the new season.
Lucifer is good. Yeah. I'm gonna probably rewatch The Boys before season 2 comes out because I love that first season, but like I got to get that fresh in my head. Okay, a couple quick questions here before we move on to some final ones. Will Sean Chandler ever come on one of these? He actually has been on one of these. Yeah. So he was on with Sharonda, I believe. Last time she was on, he was on. Yeah. So a couple weeks back. Will I have him back on again? Probably. Let's see. Here's one for you, Sharonda. Sharonda has great personality. That is her best strength.
I agree.
That's very good.
It's
true. It's true. Let's see here. I think we got a couple of super chats here. Or just one super chat here from Marshall Boy. Thank you, man. Which drama do you enjoy more, Marriage Story or Her? Tough question. Tough question. Austin?
Man, as much as I've praised Her over the years, I have to go Marriage Story. I was a massive Marriage Story fan, and I've already rewatched it like 4 times. I know it's a very emotional watch, but yeah, I have to barely go Marriage Story.
Yeah.
Sharonda? It's definitely a marriage story. I mean, you get so invested in their relationship, and you get emotional because you almost like, could they have made this work? Like if someone would have just did this, or they would have did that, like this had worked out. Like, what do we do here? Let's save this relationship. But Marriage Story is my pick.
Yeah, I gotta go Marriage Story. I mean, like Her devastated me, but it didn't devastate me to the levels of Marriage Story. Especially like I've never had just like a raw argument between 2 people make me like break down and cry so much as that did in Marriage Story.
He wanted her. She got. I felt that. I felt that.
Yeah,
like, wow.
I know. I felt literally everything in that movie. It's so, and the thing is like it could have been like so dour and depressing, but like there is some comedy in there. It is a little lighter, but it's really it's real, and I think the performances are magnificent. I still think maybe Adam Driver should have won. Maybe Adam Driver should have won for best actor.
There's an argument. Yeah.
There's an argument, but I guess you're going up against Joaquin and Joker, so it's really impossible to beat that, I guess. But yeah, no, I Marriage Story is magnificent. All right, guys, we will take one final question before we close out here. So make it a good one. Make it a good one. I'm not going to close this out until we get a good final question. So hit us with your best shot here. If it's possible. If it's possible.
I think when someone asks like their favorite director and their favorite film, I'm gonna go with Christopher Nolan and The Prestige, which is my favorite Christopher Nolan film. I know that it's controversial for some, but that was like one of the first movies I was just like, wow. Like, I didn't even think I was going to like this movie, and just all of the layers and complexity within it. I was just like, this was great.
Yeah. I mean, Nolan's my favorite filmmaker ever. I mean, my favorite film by him is Inception, but I would say his best film is Dunkirk. So that's sort of where I go for that. I know Austin is a big Villeneuve guy.
Yeah.
Is he your fave?
He's my fave, just slightly over Nolan. I know Nolan is just it's hard to knock my boy like that, but Arrival is actually, right now, it changes every day, is actually my favorite movie from him, and I have watched it so many times, and I just appreciate more and more on each watch.
So you're telling me the "Let's make a baby" line doesn't throw you off at the end there? That one always
hey, listen, man,
always
I've said that
ruins
before, right?
the end.
You know what I mean?
Well,
I knew you were
my wife.
I know.
Like my wife, I'm like, let's make a baby. You know?
Dude, listen. I love that movie, and I think it's amazing. It's so emotional, but good Lord, does that line just throw off the whole thing? Oh man. Anyways, okay, we got a great final one here from Movie Files. Let's see. Most takes you had for recording a review, and what film was it?
Ooh.
I don't know how many takes I had, because I usually just like, I have certain things that I want to say, and then I'll like try and recite. There were times when I tried to like memorize reviews that I would write out and then like say them. And then there have been times where I just can't memorize the stuff. I think honest to God, I think the worst one for me was when I reviewed The Old Man and the Gun. I could not for the life of me get anything out. It was a disaster. I don't know how many takes it was, but it filled 4 like video files worth of words. So it's probably like an hour worth of footage I had to sift through. But yeah, Sharonda.
So Black AF, okay? Because I think it's a tie between Black AF or Harriet. So anyone who follows me knows that like when it comes to Black TV shows or Black movies, that I know, like, you watch something and like either I'm about to get dragged for how I feel, or this show or movie is about to get dragged for how terrible it is. But like you're trying to be respectful at the same time. I struggle so much. And this like goes back to what I was saying before. Like, I hate that review because I had none of my personality. It took like a strong hour to even get to the point, because I'm lazy. I don't write out scripts. I do everything in one take because I get anxiety with editing videos, and I don't even listen to my videos all the way through. And if I mess up, you're just gonna get a cough, a sneeze, and mess up whatever it is in that video. But that video is terrible. My review is so terrible. And they got like 40-something thousand views. And I was like, are you serious right now? Like, this is the video that you wanted to watch. Yeah.
Yeah.
As well. But yeah, that was just, whoo. And they got a season 2. You hate it.
Seriously.
Yeah. Austin, Mr. Perfection over here. I'm very curious to hear what your answer to this question. Yeah, I know. Honestly, does he mess up?
Oh, yeah. Oh, listen, I actually have like, I'm never going to release it, but I have a compiled little, a chunk of videos where I've just messed up so bad and got so frustrated. I'm just like, just sitting. My longest, I wouldn't say, doing it multiple times. And it's funny because we already talked about it. It's actually Cats. My video file is like 55 minutes long for that movie. And here was the problem, right? I was so just not in the mood to talk about it, but I'm like, I got to get this review out. So throughout the video, you'd see me sit there. I'm just like, I don't know what else to say. I want to get it over 5 minutes. And I think it ended up getting like close to 10 minutes, but I just did not know what to say. And then I would say something. I'm like, because we talked about like, I don't like being overly mean towards a movie, even if it's Cats, like even if I hate the film. So I'm like, was that too mean? And then I would redo it. And I'm like, but that's kind of sarcastic. I swear to you, it was 55 minutes. I edited that thing for 2 hours. And by the time I got it down, I'm like, I don't know if this is mean enough. I think people are going to think I like cats until they see my score. I'm just like, whatever.
Yeah,
I put it out there, but the frustration.
I think I had something similar where I was just like, I felt like I was dogging too much on it. And then I was like, well, maybe I'm not being harsh enough on it. I ended up just never releasing the review because I didn't care anymore. So it was like, yeah. I mean, I just recorded it and I started editing it and I'm like, I just don't care.
It's not worth it. Yeah,
it's not worth it. And I had other stuff going on. But anyways, guys.
Star Wars movie. I think I get anxiety. Star Wars movies, comic book movies.
Scares me.
You just never know how your comment section is going to go.
Oh, I know. It's a disaster. It is like a gamble for sure. But anyways, guys, that is going to do it for this installment of the Saturday Live Q&As. Thank you all. Thank all of you for joining. And then also those of you who donated with super chats to get your questions answered. We really appreciate that. So thank you so much for that as well. And thank you to my two guests here, Sharonda and Austin. Sharonda, where can everyone find you online?
I had a brain freeze for him. I was like, where can they find me? Pair Wait.
Is there a link? Yeah, there should be one down in the description. I have a link to your channel or something, but
yeah, Pair Wait. Yeah, that's the name.
Everywhere. All the socials everywhere. No, that's no. Yeah, just give her a follow. Watch her stuff. Watch her Harriet review or her Black AF review. Do it. And then the man of the hour, Mr. Austin Burke. Where can everyone find you? Thanks for coming on.
You guys can find me, Austin Burke, on YouTube, Letterboxd, at the Burkinator on Twitter, and all that wonderful stuff. And but I'm surrounded by two wonderful people. You guys are so much fun to talk to.
Love.
Go and find these two over me, because seriously, that you guys are really good. And Griffin, thanks again for having me on the channel, man.
Yeah, man, for sure. We'll make sure that we have both of you back soon. But anyways, guys, if you haven't done so already, be sure to like this video, share with your friends, and subscribe to the channel if you are new. If you are a returning subscriber, we always appreciate your viewership. Thank you for the kind words in the chat and all that good stuff. You can like FilmSpeak on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and also, guys, we have a Patreon now. So if you want to support the channel, go a little bit extra and be involved in the creation of our show, Film Forum, with topics and whatnot, head on over to our Patreon and consider joining one of the tiers that we have there. And then lastly, guys, if you like what I have to say, you can give me a follow on Twitter at Griff Schiller. All right. And that's going to do it for this live stream, guys. And until next time, take care.
Did you rub my lamp? That was some generation.